Fire's always been a part of this land, even before people. It's a legend or a story in some tribes where the firebird used to come up and pick up a stick and then fly through the air and then drop it. And then in that area would then get the mosaic burning or the traditional burning. So it actually goes back to the dream time even before people. We need this traditional burning where the bush sings, it likes it. And not a really hot fire that burns all the habitats and kills animals. Yeah. So it's a kind of balanced fire. Aboriginal people knew this for many thousands of years and used it as a tool. And in some languages fire can mean creation or magic or renewal. So it's not actually seen as destructive as in terms of like modern men see fire as destructive. Ancient men saw fire as so much a part of life. Such an important part of life.
Just like to start by acknowledging country, paying our respects to the elders past, present and future, and just I guess hope to share a few words about what we're here today to do and what we're hoping to achieve, and I guess getting people to think together as a group, as a community around what we're trying to achieve. And this is a cultural burn, so we need to think about what that means. You know, there's plants, animals and responsibilities that we have to those. We have that same responsibility to each other. So, you know, thinking about the role of fire.
Oh, it's great down here at Minyumai. You know, we've got a great bunch of rangers, and you know, have a clear kind of approach to looking at the cultural values and responsibilities to country. You know, old people managed this land for thousands of years, and some of the elders in the community got this land back for the community to manage, and they've really, you know, got behind that and really supporting that land management outcome for strong cultural outcomes and community and biodiversity and all that sort of stuff. So it's a good outcome.
The idea of the burn here is to open up this ridge pathway up to the main central ridge, which is situated next to the coastal plain here, and we're pretty sure that this would have been maintained as a movement pathway by the Aboriginal people that lived in this area.
This is our scar tree. I scarred this tree a few weeks ago, just to give people a visual sense of direction, which way to go. It's shaped like kangaroo feet, as you can see, and the arrow's pointing that way, so that's the direction to go. It's just a marker to point out which direction to walk through the bush, because this is just an old pathway to head down to the beach.
And so it was kept as a very open grassy forest, and recent land use has mitigated against the maintenance of this habitat. So what we're trying to do here is recreate the old habitat where burning was a fairly frequent occurrence, and it was maintained as an open grassy forest, and also to maintain populations of some of the species that are dependent on this habitat.
And then also, like, given the properties, you know, got a lot of wildfire impacts on it, so they're really trying to work out how to mitigate wildfire and make sure that they've got an appropriate fire regime, like the old people used to have on country here, you know, when they'd be walking the pathways and hunting and gathering and camping and doing ceremony all through this broader cultural landscape. There's a whole heap of fire associated with that practice, and so they're thinking about, you know, how do they bring back that practice in their little ways within Minyumai, and then supporting that, I guess, communities across the region as well.
Our objective was to put a medium intense fire through this particular plot to knock out acacia and saplings, so animals can get access to the country, and also us. Well, this place hasn't been burned for like 7-8 years, so it's good to put fire back on country to look after the grasses and trees that are here.
Got quite a diverse range of tree species in the canopy here, a number of different eucalypt species. So it's a very rich overstory, and that's reflected in the richness of the vertebrate fauna as well. A number of threatened species, quite a diverse and dense small mammal population, lots of bats, and the bird species are pretty good too. Many different bird species are characteristic of this spotted gum forest. Well, what we expect is going to happen here is that the understory, the low understory and the ground cover will be removed, and also the food species. The individuals that are present here during the burn, of course, will be pretty much okay. A lot of the small mammals go into hollow logs that don't get burnt, hollows in trees. Some of them have burrows, underground burrows. There's a species here called the pale field rat that will go into underground burrows in this sandy soil. So the individual species, individuals of the species will be probably protected. They won't be affected by the burn, but immediately afterwards they'll probably move away from this area because the food resource and the cover will be gone. There won't be cover from their predators, and a lot of their grasses, sedges and other species, plant species that they depend on for food, will be gone, and they'll take some years probably to come back. So this is the whole idea of the monitoring project. We've been collecting baseline data here prior to the burn for 2 years. So we've got a pretty good idea of the vertebrate faunal assemblage of this forest, and we're going to monitor it for a number of years post-burn and just see how long it takes some of these species to come back, whether there are any major changes, whether we've got new species coming in and then going again perhaps, or whether they're maintained by our change in land management here by applying burns at relatively frequent, not too frequent, but not too infrequent periods.
Yeah, I guess we all agree it's a scar tree, and I'm not totally sure of what the uses are. We've got a few ideas of the uses, but I guess from a fire management perspective, we're here doing fire management, thinking about we're not planning to burn this area, but if we were, we'd obviously really want to protect this, rake around it, give ourselves a couple of metres away from this, really protect it. Also, like we're recording it, we'd want to make sure that at least the local authorities know that there's a scar tree here, because when there will be a wildfire, which is inevitable here all around us, we can see evidence of frequent wildfires, and you can see on the tree the scars running up quite high. It's been impacted several times, so just want to protect it. Like it's obviously got damage, and it's all it's a part of the ecosystem, so it's being aged and affected, but we want to preserve it. We don't want the tree to burn out from the inside and hollow out and die. We want to preserve this scar tree.
It was a few years ago that up in our Mandela track goes up to our waterfall. I've actually taken a photo of an emu footprint, and I've actually gave it to Dave Millage, and he's confirmed that there was an emu footprint. And but we didn't have any sightings. Well, apparently they got wiped out on this side, the Banzaland country, so we don't know if they're here or not, but we're saving all the G-bung trees, the emu trees. We're trying to save most of them that are here, and just promote the new grassy pasture areas and get them nice and clean for the next generation of animals.
We really need fire to maintain the systems that have evolved and the different animal and plant species that are dependent on these broader ecosystems for their long-term sustainability in these forests. So it's really important to have this sort of mosaic of burning and non-burning in this type of country, so that we have as many species represented and sustained over time as possible.
I guess to me, you know, cultural burn is different for different people, like, you know, different communities and, you know, different objectives. But I guess essentially it's about any burn in the landscape, or, you know, anywhere, I guess, on country that is within a cultural context. So I guess there's a set of values and objectives that align to cultural aspirations and practice. So it's really about cultural practice, I guess, essentially. But also, you know, looking after country, species, you know, places, you know, protecting sites, making sure that the habitat is there for you know, important food resources and totems, and, you know, so it's really about that healthy country, sort of healthy people kind of approach to land management.
I think it's really good for regeneration, to bring back our natural plants for our native animals. Yeah, I'd love to become a firewoman. I love starting fires.
Yeah, I would love to become a firefighter too.
For our culture, it is very important. And not only are we learning for ourselves, but we're learning for our children, our next generation.
And the next generations to come.
Yeah.